You know, ain't it funny how my last two, my part one and part two of Uncle JD Speaks His Mind, got my retarded fuck ass orbiting haters all triggered and hurt by what's been said. So much so that these are the retarded fucks bringing them up. These are the retarded fucks bringing them up when no one else is bringing up my videos. While in the same breath claiming no one cares, even though they're the ones bringing it up, letting everybody know that they care. Yes, they care. So Uncle JD does what he does best. That's right. We're gonna hurt these retarded fuck ass haters' feelings some more with part three. And yeah, I know they watching. They can't help but to watch. But nevertheless, it's me again. They hate us. This is why they give a fuck about us at the same time as always, JD Miles. The MGTOWs they love to hate, even the ones that claim everybody loves to hate them, loves to hate MGTOW at the same time, which is why they keep us relevant to this day. And I'm back again. In part three, we're going to talk about the elephant in the room. The big ass elephant in the room, in which is completely noticeable. We're going to talk about the government, social media, and these sites pushing false narratives and propaganda. And don't y'all find it funny that they want to label each and every male space, where it's MGTOW, where it's Red Pill, where it's the Manosphere, as terrorists, but in the end, we see states bringing out laws in our favor. They bringing out laws that we want that that we've been saying for the past several years. But we're the terrorists. And speaking of which, it's funny they call us terrorists, but can I explain how these male spaces grew substantially and globally, universal. In fact, one person asks, if they label y'all as a terrorist and as a threat, then how come more people is joining these male spaces rather than speaking out against them, like what the government and the media wants? It's simple, elementary, my dear Watson. Because look at all the key things. Let's take a look at all the key things in this tragic comedy. Where do I begin with first? Let's talk about the news outlets here. Now, as I remember, back in February 2022, you had these biased pro-feminist news sites such as CBS pushing out their propaganda, in which I find comical that you got retarded fucks still believing that shit's gonna happen, even though it's now been 2 years later. It's now been 2 years later, and they haven't made a move. In fact, they're the reason why you got these retarded fuck ass conspiracy theorists and propagandists on social media pushing their bullshit, thinking people's gonna listen to them when they can't even pull an audience to save their life. They want to push this propaganda. And what's more, you had government officials such as Homeland Security, Secret Service, even the FBI getting involved. And so far, they came up with nothing either. They wanted to go after Manosphere, they wanted to go after Red Pill, they wanted to go after MGTOW, they want to go after SYSBM, they want to go after all these male spaces. But there's a problem. They're claiming that these male spaces is terrorist. They're claiming that these male spaces is terrorist, but they have no substantial evidence linking these spaces into terrorism. Not a single terroristic act were committed by these male spaces. Not one. Not one. And they wonder why their shit never got off the ground. In fact, and believe me, this is going to be a doozy. Back in 2022, when they was pushing that see something, say something, and how all these male spaces were terrorists, according to CBS, according to CNN, according to all these biased pro-feminist news outlets, how come they have yet to prove anything? Oh, they're terrorists because somebody from the U.S. Navy called themselves infiltrating the space and having this imaginary evidence. Then come to find out that hit piece, we all knew for a fact that the feminist was pushing that retarded fuck shit. Especially when we only saw that news article once, then it faded to obscurity. You don't hear people talking about it. Why is that? Plus, it doesn't help. Plus, it doesn't help the causes of these feminists. When after that news article dropped, several months later, I believe in June of 2022, you had these femitards going on camera pushing this thing called KAM. Now, what does KAM stands for? And why was these feminists pushing it? It's simple. KAM stands for Kill All Men. Kill all men, kill male babies, wipe men off the planet is what they saying. And you bet your ass everybody caught on to that. So this same feminist movement who's quick to claim these male spaces are terrorists, they're misogynists, they hate women, they're this, that, and the third, are now the same feminists pushing their terrorism onto men. And then you had some that was sitting there and wonder why everybody says feminism hates men. Feminists are misandrous. Now you got feminists promoting terrorist acts themselves. And those same news media outlets, the same government, is quiet. So basically what they're trying to say is, oh, one side of sexism needs to be demonized while the other side of sexism gets a free pass. It's okay for women to be on social media hating men, but it's wrong and it's foul when you have men on social media hating women. And this is why I talk about one-sided correctness. How you gonna? You want to correct one side, but you want to disregard the other, and then they wonder why they still stuck in that same fucking position. And what's more, let's talk about let's talk about the federal government here. Homeland Security, Secret Service, FBI. I know for the FBI, it's now been a year. And for both Homeland Security and Secret Services, it's now been 2 years. What what progress have they made since that hit piece came out on these biased pro-feminist news sites? They can't answer. And what's more, they also ignore when these sexist, man-hating females do it too. Then and then come the month of August 2020 2022. You had one female attempted a mass shooting out in Loveland Airport in Dallas Fort Worth. None of them batted an eye. In fact, they were quiet. And then further on, weeks later, same month, August of 2022, you had another female who went on a shooting rampage, killing 2 men, wounding another, and got apprehended before trying to lead the U.S. to Africa. And I bet those feminists were celebrating. And I bet those feminists who were sitting there promoting kill all men were celebrating that shit hard. But then again, those same feminists wonder why I said that she's a feminist. Then they want to claim, oh, these male spaces promote mass shootings and shit. Oh, not just these male spaces, but these male spaces are also far-right conservative and all this other shit. They all got links to mass shootings. But but here's where I can actually debunk the shit. The Aurora Theater shooter, the Club Q shooter, the Nashville shooter, the main shooter, as well as the Joel Osteen's megachurch Houston, Texas shooter, all completely debunked that notion. The August 2022 mass shooter, who was a female, by the way, which I talked about earlier, the Club Q shooter, which was a far left liberal, as well as as being part of the alphabet community. What about the Nashville shooter? Same thing. Same thing. Part of the alphabet community. Better yet, the Nashville shooter is a double whammy. Not only triple whammy, correction. Far left liberal, alphabet community, and was a female transitioning to a man. The main mass shooter, far left liberal. The Joel Osteen's Houston megachurch shooter, female, far left. Y'all getting where I'm going with this, right? Not to mention not to mention the past female mass shooters. Some of them were also liberal. But they want to push this agenda that, all mass shooters are white, male, far right conservative. That shit is completely debunked now. Then they want, and what's more, they think they pulling the wool over people's eyes, but people could clearly see it for what it is and not how they like it to be. Then they wonder why these male spaces has grown double, triple, even quadruple the size that it was before these hit pieces came out. In fact, MGTOW grew in numbers. Red Pill grew in numbers. The Manosphere grew in numbers. And now the haters, the naysayers, and everybody is now afraid. Oh, they are afraid now. Some are in complete panic mode that they're trying to say anything and everything they can to try to convince people that, we still terrorists, we still misogynists and all this other bullshit. They are on complete panic mode. I'm looking at the situation like, come on. Y'all the ones who want to jump on here making all these retarded fuck-ass claims you can't back up, nor is it even happening. But y'all going so far as to put labels on these male spaces, knowing good and damn well y'all don't have nothing to back that shit up with. And don't think for one single solitary second that we, the people, is not going to go back, research, see for themselves, and understand the situation. And ever since then, everybody is now starting to see what is happening out here. CNN got down to a point where they now throughout their article asking why men are refusing to date. Why are there more single men than ever? Then look at the younger generation. Because of what they've been seeing happening, they are thinking twice before you even get into a relationship at all, which is why you got all these videos of these women asking why these men don't approach anymore, why these men don't want to be in relationships, why these men don't want to get married. Wow, for us being terrorists, everything we were saying, everything we talked about, everything we conversated has now gone to surpass. And believe me, I ain't no fucking psychic. I ain't no psychic, but everything I've been saying has also been coming to pass. One example is how Homeland Security, realizing that stopping the manosphere has now become impossible due to lack of evidence, and their claims being bullshit, in which we all knew that shit. Instead of going after manosphere as a whole, they now set their sights on selective targets of red pill in the manosphere. Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, Rollo Tomasi, just pearly things, and that's just a few. What's more, Homeland Security tried to get the McCain Institute out in Arizona involved, in which the complete irony of it all is that they are relying on an institute named after a conservative to try to stop so-called conservatives. And speaking of politics, I'll get to that later. However, the Senate and I believe the House, it was the House, who summoned Homeland Security in question to why they getting third parties involved, and which, by the way, we soon learned that it's unconstitutional for any government to try to get third party institutes involved in anything. I guess the anti-manospheres did not see that coming. But then again, when I tried to tell them, they didn't want to listen. Now they learned the hard way. And as far as this, these male spaces are right-wing conservative, let's go ahead and just dead that shit altogether. Because at this point, they're trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater. They're trying to lump all the male spaces into this one boat. Even though some of us are independent. I myself is independent, meaning I have no political side. And I vote by who has my best interest more than who's in whose party. And yes, I have my issues with both sides. I have my issues with Republicans, as well as my issues with the Democrats. But of course, you got retarded fucks who just want to put people on sides. And what has Uncle JD always talk about? Putting people on a side. Worst case scenario, putting people on your opponent's side. You're going to make enemies everywhere you go. And if you make enemies everywhere you go, what the fuck is you going to do when all those enemies you made surround your goddamn fort? What are they going to do? That's the question of the day. And what's more, and yes, the video is still on my channel. Why do y'all have conservatives speaking out against these male spaces. Oh, that's the part the far left libtards will not tell nobody. They so busy trying to make these male spaces into far right-wing conservatives that they don't want people to know that even the far right-wing conservatives have their issues with these male spaces as well. Oops, did I just say did I just say the secret part out loud? Good. But then let's talk about social media here. And yes, for some of these social media platforms, we can clearly see they're biased. And no, YouTube, you are no exception to the rule either. Y'all have biases as well. Y'all go after channels, pages, what may have you, claiming that these men are sexist, misogynist, and this type of stuff. You try to get their channels banned and their channels demonetized, but they got all this shit. You got all these females posting this shit out on social media, pushing their misandry, pushing their hatred against men out on social media, and they get rewarded. And in some cases, the shit gets encouraged. Their shit gets monetized. They get paid for being sexist against men. Oh, but women being sexist and hating men is okay, but it's only wrong when men does the exact opposite. And no, I don't give a fuck. I do not give a fuck if they ban TikTok, because they won't let me have a voice in their platform. Moreover, most of these females' hatred against men, most of these females' misandry come from TikTok. In fact, the term "kill all men" came from a dumb femitard on TikTok. But this is the same TikTok that's supposed to be against sexism. Fucking hypocrites. But yeah, everybody sees this shit. Everybody's clearly seeing this shit for what it is and not how they like it to be. And they wonder why these male spaces are growing. Why these male spaces are now universally known. These male spaces are known around the world. From the west to the Far East, to the Pacific Islands and beyond. At this point, stopping us is trying to stop a moving freight train. And you know those trains don't stop on a dime. Especially they going at high speed. It's like a Corvette hitting a brick wall. But oh, I saved the best for last. And these male spaces such as MGTOW, Red Pill, Manosphere, and others are both terrorists and whatnot, then how come you got states passing laws in which these male spaces are pushing to be passed? The state of Alabama has passed a law punishing those punishing those who make false rape and false sexual assault accusations. The state of Tennessee has passed a law to make paternity fraud a crime and DNA tests at birth mandatory. And as we just found out, earlier this week, both Georgia and Florida are following right behind Tennessee, demanding making paternity tests mandatory for any child support payments. And other states is following pursuit behind that. And who was the main ones pushing for these laws to get passed? That's right, these same mail spaces, the U.S. government, the media, social media, the feminists, all these groups who wants to hate on these mail spaces did not see that everything these mail spaces was pushing is now coming to pass. And we hope other states follow suit as well. As I say in my last video, they got to be laws in place to protect men as well, especially when they are females taking advantage of things that they shouldn't be taking advantage of, or trying to scheme, or trying to plot. Now it's to a point to where we are now in position to question each and every male space. All these male spaces can now question these claims that were made against us. They want to call us terrorists. Now it's time for these retarded fucks to defend their claim. Oh, that's right, they can't. In fact, they were given 2 years to defend their claim. And no, I wasn't the only one who was challenging these claims of these male spaces being terrorists. You had others challenging this claim too. In fact, didn't I offer a sit down? Didn't I offer a sit down and a discussion about this? Because they want to call us terrorists, but they ain't got nothing against us when it comes to any terroristic act. And the fact that they too scared to even accept a sit down, a meetup. Let's talk about this. This right here further proves that their claims is bullshit. These federal government claims are bullshit. Wikipedia, bullshit. ADL, bullshit. SPLC, bullshit. And if what they saying is true, then they wouldn't be hiding. Nope, they wouldn't be hiding. They wouldn't be ducking for cover. And they wonder why these male groups, these male spaces is growing. Even to a point to where it's bigger. Even to the point to where it is now bigger than the West. But I'm going to leave it at that. I said what I had to say. I'm done with part 3. More parts on the way, and I'm out this bitch. Later.